We're going to go to Columbus right now, where we believe Rob Portman is about to make his acceptance speech.
This was a long, hard-fought campaign, as it should be when the stakes for America are so high. And in the end, hope and common sense triumphed. It's interesting, I never felt like I had to convince any Ohioans that a lot was at stake here. People understood that. So many showed up to help, many of whom had never been involved in politics before. I'd go to a parade expecting to see a handful of volunteers, and dozens would show up. Some of them are in this room tonight. Yes. It was that kind of commitment and that kind of conviction that has led us to victory tonight. The ideas and the hopes that prevailed in this election don't have any political party label. Republican, Democrat, Independent alike, Ohio voters understood that our state and our country are in trouble, and it's going to take all of us to set it straight. So much of the economic hurt has fallen on Ohio workers and small business owners, and I'm going to Washington to be their voice. In the closing days of this campaign, there's been a lot of discussion about the angry voter. And look, there's plenty to be upset about, that's for sure. But I think it's a lot deeper than that. As you all know, I've been to all 88 counties many, many times. And I found out today we've had over 800 different gatherings, many at factories with workers, parades, festivals, and fairs. And I found something a little different. I found voters serious, more engaged, and more concerned about the direction of our country than I've ever seen them before. People know their challenges, but they also know there's a better way. They're being told by folks that national problems like our massive debt and our high unemployment are just facts of life we've got to live with. Here in Ohio, we're not buying it, are we? We know America was made for better things, don't we? We can be great again, and we're not afraid to try. America can replace its center as a great state of agriculture and industry, innovation, invention, entrepreneurship. Our whole nation can be more prosperous and more confident if only we go back to our strengths of private enterprise, personal responsibility, and limited government. We can do it. We can do it. Reckless spending and debt are dragging down America's economy today and mortgaging the future for our kids and our grandkids. Millions of our fellow citizens are losing their jobs because the politicians are not doing their jobs. Without question, the incoming Obama administration and the current Congress were faced with very serious economic problems. But folks, the policies they have promoted have taken us deeper into debt without turning the corner on jobs and the economy as promised, and you can only get away with that for so long. Today, the people have spoken and spoken forcefully and clearly.
And that was Rob Portman, winner of the U.S. Senate race here in the state of Ohio. He defeated former Lieutenant Governor Lee Fisher as he was giving his victory speech tonight to all of his supporters. We're going to take you back to network right now, but we will be back in a half hour with more updates on tonight's election.
And welcome back to NewsNet5.com for our continuing coverage. We want to go right back to Rob Portman, the new U.S. Senator from the state of Ohio.
With tonight's results, the majority in the U.S. House of Representatives is shifting. Congress is changing direction. The question is, will the executive branch adjust its course? I think this is a moment of truth and a moment of opportunity. The truth is they've expanded the reach, the power, the fiscal responsibilities of government beyond what the people asked for or expected. The opportunity for all of us is to change direction and to work together to bring back the investments, the growth, and the jobs. In our great state of Ohio, 1 of 10 people are out of work. Now, these aren't statistics. These are people. This is thousands of families. We've lost 150,000 jobs since the administration and Congress borrowed and spent $800 billion for the stimulus package. Consumers aren't buying. Investors are afraid to take a risk. Houses aren't selling. And businesses are too concerned to hire. You know, part of the audacity of hope was to bring people together to solve problems. It was a compelling message. But instead, what we got was 2 years of party line votes, power plays, and polarizing rhetoric that's gotten us nowhere. It's time to get serious, and that means finding common ground and confronting the very serious, real problems we face. It's time to get serious because people are looking for politicians who are serious. They want politicians who care more about the next generation than the next election. As your new senator, I will work with fellow Republicans. I will work with Democrats, including my colleague, Senator Sherrod Brown. I will work with anyone who wants to face up to the economic crisis our country is still in, the looming debt crisis we can still avoid, and the unemployment crisis that feels for many like it's never going to end. I've talked with small business owners and workers all across Ohio, and the sense of frustration with Washington runs deep. I did it yesterday at a factory in Cleveland, talking to workers about their concerns and the owners about what they're going to do. One guy, the president of an employee-owned factory outside of Cleveland, told me, "We don't know what's coming. There's so much uncertainty. We feel like Washington has pulled the rug out from under us." That's why he's not investing. Recently, I was in Youngstown, and a small business owner told me, "I'm paying time and a half rather than hiring new people because of the additional costs of health care brought on by this new health care legislation. Folks, it's not working." These small business owners speak for millions of others. And tonight, I can tell you at least one thing that's coming. When it's time to vote to repeal and place the health care legislation, I'm going to vote yes. But I'll tell you something else. I will work with both sides of the aisle to deal with the escalating costs of health care and to expand coverage. In the United States Senate, it's better to be known by your state than your party. I don't need party discipline to tell me that the cap-and-trade energy tax will only cap growth and trade away Ohio jobs. All I need is a little Ohio common sense. I will promote using the resources we have and developing new technologies to be sure we are less dependent on foreign oil, that we have cleaner burning fuels, and that we can create jobs right here in Ohio. Not because I want my party to prevail, but because I want my state to succeed. I will not vote to raise taxes on job creators as we're trying to climb out of this recession. I will vote to simplify our tax code and provide payroll tax relief to small businesses and workers so we can get this economy back on track. and never forgetting Ohio's sons and daughters in uniform and the continued threat of terrorism, I will always vote to defend our great country and keep America strong and safe. In this campaign, my opponent and I got a fair hearing wherever we went. We treated serious matters in a serious way. Lieutenant Governor Fisher has a long record of service to the people of Ohio. He ran a spirited campaign, and he had the support of a lot of good people. Tonight I spoke to Lieutenant Governor Fisher, and I wished him and his family my very best. In January, I'll be succeeding Senator George Voinovich. One of the very finest public servants our state has ever known. Jane and I are very grateful to George and Janet for their friendship, for their support, and for the extraordinary legacy that they leave. I'm also grateful to everyone here and folks all across this great state who have stepped forward to help. Ohio is a big, diverse state, and you've got to have a lot of stamina and a lot of help to campaign all across Ohio. Like most victories, this one came through teamwork. I'm grateful to the many thousands of dedicated volunteers and supporters. I want to thank each and every one of you for making this a winning cause. And I want to thank you for helping all the candidates. To turn things around in Ohio, we need to be sure that John Kasich and Mary Taylor win and all of our statewide ticket wins. We need Steve Stivers in Washington, D.C. And folks, I get the sense that we'll get what we need tonight. I appreciate the Portman campaign team. Some of them behind me, some of them are over here, led by Bob Paduchik. They did a terrific job. They gave it their all, and I couldn't be more proud to share this moment with them. Someone told me at the very outset of this race that if I didn't get involved in it, that I would regret it. And she was right. For all of her good sense, for the exceptional job she did on the campaign trail, for her loving support at every turn, I thank the love of my life, Jane Portman. Jane was our best surrogate. In fact, I'd go to speak and a county chair would come up and say, look, Jane Portman was just here. She'd actually make the better candidate. I can't thank my kids enough. So much of a parent's job is to be there for your kids, always to be in their corner. And it's such an incredible thing when they do the same thing for you. I want to thank Sally, I want to thank Will and our son Jed for selflessly helping out their dad. It's been a real highlight of the campaign for me, and I'm really proud of their support. Thank you guys. All right, Dan. No, I know, kid. My brother and sister, Wim and Jenna, who are with us tonight, and were there from the beginning of this campaign. In all the world, I've never found better friends. Both. Tonight, Wim and Jenna and I are missing somebody. We feel the loss of the presence of somebody, and that's my dad. We lost him just a couple months ago. Life is a journey you rarely get to finish with your parents, isn't it? But wherever I go, I'm always going to have with me the example of a decent and kind man who always did the right thing, started his own small business, and lived the American dream. His name was Bill Portman. Dad was the one who taught me early on that if you have a dream, it's worth the risk and trouble and struggle to go after it. That's what he did, and that's what we did in this election. My father and my mother Joanne Portman left all three of us with examples of integrity and goodness that I can only hope to be worthy of. And in all I do, as a senator from the great state of Ohio, I hope to be worthy of this great and temporary privilege. My fellow citizens, I'll give this job everything I have, and I'll work my hardest to earn your trust. As we go forward together, may God bless this great state, may God bless this great nation, and may God help to guide us in our shared commitment for a better tomorrow. Thank you, and God bless.